Hi, in this video we are going to practice using the past simple in its affirmative form. And the objective that we have for this lesson is to use the past simple tense in affirmative statements when we're saying that something is actually happening. We're using affirmations. Or the affirmative statements, let's keep it like that. When we need to express an action that took place in the past, we may use the past simple. The past simple is a verb tense that we use in English to talk about actions that started in the past and ended in the past. They may have lasted for a very short period of time or a long period of time, as long as they started and ended in the past, right? Also, we use the past simple when we know. In English, we use it when we know when the action took place, when we can indicate, pinpoint when the action occurred. To talk about the events in the past, we need just to change the verb that we're using in its past simple form. That's all we need to do. We need to use a verb in the past form. To know which is the form of the verb, we need to know first if the verb is, or whether the verb is regular or irregular. Regular means that the verb ends in ed in its past form. For example, the verb listen, if I use it in the present simple, like I listen to music every day, you could remember the present simple is used to talk about things that happen habitually. If I want to use that verb listen in the past to talk about an action that started and ended in the past, I will say I listened to music yesterday. I listened to music yesterday, and as you can see, when we are writing the verb in the past form, it ends in ed. We have added ed to that verb. See? When we speak, we don't usually pronounce the E in the ed form. We just say listened, all right? Listened. So I listened to the radio yesterday. That is the past tense. Now, as you can see here in the verb plan, for example, I plan my schedule every week. That is the present. But if I want to say, last week I planned my schedule with enough time for everything that I need to do. I planned my schedule last week. As you can see, that N in the verb plan is doubled. Why? Because we don't want to change the pronunciation of the base form of the verb. Plan, planned. If we didn't have that consonant doubled there, we wouldn't have two N's there, we would have to pronounce it something like planned, and that is not the verb that we're using. We're using the verb plan, and to keep that pronunciation the same in the base form and in the past form, we double the consonant, or they double the consonant. We can just learn that that's the way they do it, and that's how we learn the past form of the verbs. Now, there is something particular that happens when a verb ends in y. For example, the verb play, like I play video games all the time in the present tense. In the past tense, yesterday I played video games. As you can see, when the verb ends in y and before the y there is a vowel, nothing changes to the verb. We just add ed. Yesterday I played. All right? But if a verb like try that has a y, yes, at the end, but before y there is a consonant. If there is a consonant before y, that y changes to I, and then we add ed. For example, I tried to help my friend many times yesterday, but we were not able to fix the computer, for example. I tried many times. All right? That is how we use regular verbs in the past form, but how do we know if a verb is regular or not? We know that a verb is regular when it is not irregular. What does that mean? Well, Actually, most of the verbs in English are regular, and there is one limited list of verbs in English that are irregular. That means that they don't form the past tense, the past form of the verb, adding ed, but in a different way. And you can always research that list of verbs everywhere. It is in the dictionaries, it is on the internet. There are many, many lists of irregular verbs. And if the verb it doesn't appear there, it is regular. That means that it ends in ed. Or the dictionary will always offer you the past form of the verb, just in the same way that it offers you the comparative and superlative form of adjectives. It offers you the past form of the verb so that you know how to use it in the past. Let me show you just one very small, short list of irregular verbs. One of the most irregular verbs in English is the verb be, that in the present form is am, is, or are in the past form is was for singular and were for plural. The verb have in the past is just had, so we don't add ed to these verbs. As you can see, the verb tell ends tell in the present form changes to told. There is a d there. It is very common to find a d in the past form of a verb, like say, said, make, made. You see the change? Now, the t is also very common in the past forms of verbs. Lose, lost, keep, kept. Sometimes when we have two vowels, we only have one in the past tense, like shoot, shot, meet, met. And sometimes the vowel changes, like in stand, stood, ride, rode, sing, sang. If you don't know the meaning of these verbs, I invite you to research them because they are very, very common. Research them. There are some verbs that end in OUGHT, like buy, but, teach, changes to AUGHT, teach, taught. The pronunciation of but and taught has the same vowel, but, taught. Cut and cut. As you can see, some verbs, the final pattern that I'm showing you here in this very small sample of irregular verbs is that some verbs don't change in the present and in the past form. So cut and cut remain the same. Cost and cost, we don't say costed or something like that. No, it is the same form for the present and for the past form, or for the past tenses, let's say. All right? And finally, when we are using the past tense, sometimes we may find some time expressions that help us specify when the action took place. And some of the time expressions that we can use to express things in the past are yesterday, the day before yesterday, like 2 days ago, last. We have last with last week, last month, last year, last night, right? We could say a little while ago, an hour ago, a long time ago, 1 week ago, 2 years ago. So ago is very, very common to express the past. We could say expressions like in the past, or in a year, in 1989, or in September, in January, etc. Or we could simply say this morning, like we are in the afternoon, so we say this morning I went to the movies, I watched a soap opera, for example, all right? Recently also, because recently somebody did something, like not very long ago. So as you can see, those time expressions can help us express things in the past. Now, with all that information, I know it's a lot of information, we're going to have 2 short practice activities. The first one is for you to write the past form of the verb in parentheses to complete each sentence. So in some sentences there is 1 blank, and in some there are 2, and I am giving you the verbs that you can use in the same order where they appear. All you have to do is understand the sentence, research what is the past form of that verb that goes there, and you write it to complete the sentence. All right? So I'm going to ask you to pause my video, complete the activity, and I'll see you in a moment. Go ahead. All right, I hope that you did it. I hope that you really completed the activity, and let's read the answers together. My dad helped me do my science homework yesterday. I lived in another city when I was 5 years old. You became my friend when I met you in elementary school. She did all the work while I was away. The dog ran up to me when it saw me at the adoption center. I used my mom's computer last week because mine was broken. All right? So as you can see, it is very easy. All you have to do is be attentive to using the right form of the past for each verb, whether it's regular or irregular. All right? And now we have the major activity for this lesson, and it's this one. Your friend didn't come to school today means that your friend was not in class today. Write him or her a message describing what your class did today. So describe what you and your classmates did at school today. Please use regular and irregular verbs. So imagine what you would say to your friend who didn't come to school today. So what did you do today? All right? So think about it for a moment, complete the activity, and in a moment I will show you some sample answer. Go ahead. Pause my video, complete the activity, please. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much for having done that. I really trust that you have done it. And here is some sample answer that a girl wrote. She says, "Hi, Freddie," that's her friend's name. "I hope you are feeling better. I wanted to tell you about school today." I wanted to tell you about school today. We reviewed fractions in math class. It was really good for us because the teacher used a real pizza to explain the topic. Yummy. A real pizza. At the end of the class, we ate it. We ate the pizza. That's the past form of eat. That is an irregular verb, as you can see. In science, we explored different types of rocks. Explored. We went to the schoolyard to look for samples. At lunchtime, I sat, that is a past form of sit, and it's an irregular verb. I sat with Laura and her younger sister. I didn't want to eat alone. That is a negation that we will see in a future lesson. I didn't want to eat alone. In the afternoon, we finished the map that we started yesterday in social studies. We finished the map that we started. That's a lot of verbs here. I wrote, that is another irregular verb, I wrote the math homework on a sheet of paper for you. It's in my house. Your parents can pick it up. All right, that is a good wrap up of the activity. And oh wait, there's more. I hope to see you very soon at school again. See you soon, Caroline. What is that? Carolina? Yes, that would be the pronunciation. Or Carolina. Oh no, let's go with Carolina. Anyway, let's see how the native speaker pronounces it. That would be interesting. So let's pronounce with her as you listen to her pronunciation. Go ahead, listen and repeat, please. Go ahead.
Hi, Freddie. I hope you're feeling better. I wanted to tell you about school today. We reviewed fractions in math class. It was really good for us because the teacher used a real pizza to explain that topic. At the end of the class, we ate it. In science, we explored different types of rocks. We went to the schoolyard to look for samples. At lunchtime, I sat with Laura and her younger sister. I didn't want to eat alone. In the afternoon, we finished the map that we started yesterday in social studies. I wrote the math homework on a sheet of paper for you. It's in my house. Your parents can pick it up. I hope to see you very soon at school again. See you soon, Carolina.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much for having done that. Now we know how she pronounces Carolina. And let's remember that in this lesson we reviewed how to create or form the past form of regular and irregular verbs. And that is how we can describe actions that took place in the past, at some time in the past. Actions that started and ended in the past, and actions of which we know when they happened. Remember that. All right. Thank you very much for having been with me in this lesson, and I will see you in the next one.